Hi, everybody, and welcome to another special edition on Litter Media Live. I'm your host, Mike Smith. Our interview today brought to you by Hometown-Motors Incorporated. Joining us in the studio today is Cindy Fannin, Assistant Clinical Nursing Professor at Ohio University Chillicothe. And Cindy recently has written a book called My Journey into Bedside Nursing. We'll get back with Cindy and talk about her new book right after this from Hometown Motors Incorporated.
As a professional race car driver, I live for speed, power, and performance, on and off the track. That's why I use the Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower. Race into your local dealership today and test drive a new Dixie Chopper.
And there's the book right there, My Journey into Bedside Nursing, and this is with Cindy Fannin. Cindy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Let's first of all talk about, before we get into your background or anything like that or what the book is about, what made you want to write a book?
Well, I was always telling stories to my students and to my son, and my son's a nurse too. Both my sons are nurses, and the one said, you know, I love your stories. If you do anything, I got a million ideas, but he said, if you do one thing, you need to write a book. And so I did. I just wrote down memories, and so I want everybody to see what it's like to be a real nurse. And my main thing is to see the patient as a person. They're special to everybody. Yeah. You know, they're not just another sick person laying in bed. So
I know I've had 100 people over the years say, Mike, you need to write a book. And I was thinking about this yesterday, preparing for this interview, and I'm thinking, I don't know that there's anything unusual or fantastic about my life that needs to be written in a book. Did you have second thinking or anything of that nature that in any way impeded the progress of writing a book?
No, I'm not really just getting it all together, you know, but all the stories are hard hitting at times, and they're things that have taught me lessons. So when I tell them to people, they really get a lot out of it. The students remember it, you know, and helps them not make the same mistakes or not to see things, you know, in the wrong way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So would you say that this book is clinical, or is it more of a kind of like the human interest side? Definitely
the human. There's a lot of clinical information in there, but no, it's about seeing people. It's the human side, the connections, you know, that you make with people when they're dying or when they're sick, or making that difference, or learning lessons about it's not about you, and that kind of thing. So a little about your background. We mentioned at the outset you're the assistant clinical nursing professor at Ohio University Chillicothe, and you basically are seen most of the time by your students in clinical settings out at Adena Hospital. Yes, I do. Just a full-time clinical. I help a little bit like in lab and things like that, but full-time clinical, and I love it. But yeah, that's my thing. I get to show them how to do, you know, shots and give medicines and take care of people, dressing changes and stuff, and it's a lot of fun.
Again, how many years in nursing?
24. Yeah, 24.
And as an instructor, how many years?
About 18 on the side and 5 full-time.
So maybe this is a question that has answered itself by the way you've progressed, but did you like the nursing in itself, or are you enjoying the instruction the best?
Oh, goodness, both of them. The nursing is what helped, because I have the experience to show them. I've made a lot of mistakes that I'll keep them from making. But yeah, the nursing, I loved it. I love my patients. We have the need to be needed, and it feels great when you're needed, even though it might be hard. But I love the educational part. I would have never went into it if somebody hadn't said, well, you love to teach. And I was like, I do. And they, you know, kind of led me that way. So
I've had nursing in my family. Of course, my oldest sister, who passed on a number of years back, she was a nurse's aide years ago. I've seen other family members that have had nursing practice, if you will. And I've always believed that nursing is a calling. You got to have a passion for it.
Definitely. It's not about making big bucks. It's not about the prestige. It's the calling. And you know, when you get into it, yes.
Now, we all have, in movies, we always have this image sometimes of the nurse, like the Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, yes.
Now, I'm sure that there's people like out there, but I'm sure that that's rare as far as in the nursing field.
Yeah, and people can be stern and still be an excellent nurse too. Not all of them are warm and fuzzy, but it brings us all together. Like some are very aggressive, and in certain situations you need them. Some are kind and patient, and I can go into a room and get cussed out and just smile and say, what can I do to help? Because I've been conditioned, and not everybody could do that either. So each personality fits, as long as you're not mean,
Right.
But we do have some that are stern, but they take care of business, So yeah, we got all different personalities.
Would your book, My Journey into Bedside Nursing, obviously it's something that would probably be of interest to anyone who is either in nursing or wanting to become a nurse.
Yes.
But is this something that the rest of us can get enjoyment out of as well?
Yes, I've sold a lot of books to a lot of friends and stuff, and they really like the stories. And they said they kind of learned a little bit about nursing, seeing it from our point of view. And anybody would enjoy it. And it's 33 stories, so you can read a couple. They're 3 pages long each story. Set it down and go back to it. So it's not, if you want a short read. Yeah, some people said they read it at night in case they cry. They're not crying in front of family.
How long's the book been out?
Since May.
This past May?
Yeah.
Okay. And how do people get a hold of it?
They have it on Barnes & Noble. They have it on Amazon. It's gone all over the world, different places. You can find it about anywhere. Goodreads, it's even on eBay. It's everywhere. So.
I'm sure there's other nursing books out there, but what would you say is unique maybe to yours as opposed to something maybe you've read from somebody else?
Well, one thing most people say, I felt like I was right there with you. I mean, that you can feel what's going on. It's not a boring just reading through a story. You're in the middle of it. And that's the way I intended to write it. But a lot of people said, I was right there with you. I felt that, or it made me angry when this happened to the patient, So I just want to bring them into our world. So if you read this, you can't just read it and be, it gets to you. So
from the conception of the idea to write a book to making it happen, what were some of the hurdles you had to go through?
Well, everybody says they will edit your book. They're not going to edit your book.
Really?
You need to I went with Palmetto Publishing. They edited it like 6 times. People mean well, but people aren't going to sit down and read 100 pages. They're just not. I mean, they're not mean or anything. Just they don't have the time. But yeah, everybody's like, I'll help you, but you can't. You just got to go get professional help, and make it the best that you can. But that was it. And just pushing more to get more content in it, But every time I would write down a new memory, I would send it in and have it added to it. So
would you say that this book evolved over the 20-some years that you were in nursing, or was this something that came together in just recent years?
It took me about a year and a half.
Okay.
Because I was always telling these stories, and then I just started writing them down. But can I tell one of the?
Yes, absolutely.
The story that really got it going is I was taking care of a patient who was dying of cancer, and her blood pressure was 80/60. And as nurses, we pay close attention to numbers. And if I give her pain medicine, it's going to make her go down too low because she's already too low, her blood pressure. So I was in angst. I was like, okay, she's in misery, but if I give her a blood pressure medicine, I'm going to kill her. And I was always afraid of giving a medicine and just falling over because I overdosed them. Yeah. So anyways, I called a mentor and I said, what do I do? Because she's in misery, but her blood pressure is too low. And she said, which is more important, your comfort or hers? And that was a smack in the face. I was like, her comfort. So I gave her the medicine. She lived for 2 more days in comfort. But it was just a really hard thing for me.
Yeah.
But, that really kind of snapped me too, like, her comfort is the most important. So that's what started the whole ball rolling.
Yeah.
So.
With that story in mind, for you, of course, you can't speak for other professionals in nursing or even doctors, but how has the spiritual world entered into what you do and have done as a nurse, how you instruct, and how you wrote that book?
Well, I'm a Christian. I don't jam it down anybody's throat. As a nurse, where they would come and get me and say, this patient's upset, can you go talk to him? And I would go, and, if they were open to it, and like one was crying, and I said, are you saved? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, the Lord's with you all the time. I said, if you just pray, and after a while, she just calmed right down. I had one patient that I led him to the Lord, and I don't push people, but I prayed for him, and I went back, and he said, I feel so much better. And we got to talking, and he wanted to be saved. So right there, but yeah, and it's showing the love of God too. I love everybody. I know some people are hard to get along with, but with them patients, you're showing the love of the Lord and the compassion.
Right.
I care about you, and I want everybody to feel seen. If I go through the hallway and you're sitting there, I'll stop and look you in the eye and say hello. I want you to know I see you. You're not invisible. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, but like I said, I don't cram it down their throats. But and even with my students, they're not children, but it's like raising my children, because I want to instill that confidence, and I want to be there for them. And same with this, a lot of it is, I don't know, people talk about your heart getting too much into it, but you treat them like they're yours. Yeah. And when they're mine, I will fight for them, and I have. I've gotten in screaming matches with doctors, and I've made people cry. But you better take care of my babies, or you better take care of my patients, or it's on. And but yeah, there's some things in there too. But yeah, they're mine, and I treat them like they're mine.
I think whether people don't realize this from a historical perspective, but especially in Western civilization, hospitals were basically originally an outreach of the Christian church.
I think I might have, yeah. Yeah, that's cool. And it is a place for healing and for hope. And you don't want if you're sick, you don't want a sourpuss coming in there and taking care of you. You need kindness, and people will say, they hate for people to take care of them. And I'm like, this is what we do. We don't mind a bit. Right. And I'm like, you probably took care of people your whole life, and now it's time for you to let us take care of you. But yeah, I agree. There's a lot of, and you get bonded with them, and I mean, I can't keep my heart out of it. But
obviously, there are end-of-life stories like you shared here just a moment ago. But have you in your years of nursing, have you seen examples of where somebody was just down, they just given up, and their attitude turned more positive, and it helped them get well?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and tell them, don't give up. You can do this. And look, you're better today than you were yesterday. And I tell them stories too of people I thought were going to die, and I seen him at Walmart after he got a pacemaker. One guy looked gray, and I seen him at Walmart a month later. He got a pacemaker, and he's
about that.
And there's people at the hospital too that have so many missing legs, arms, fingers, and they work their butt off, and they don't let it stop them. Right. So yeah, and I've had some that I thought were going to die, like I said, and next week they come to me all ready to go home, and I don't even recognize them. I'm like,
yeah.
What happened?
What happened to you? Yeah.
We do see a lot of things that you think for sure.
Yeah.
And one story in here, a guy had come from surgery, and the doctor thought he was going to die, but he just needed to be warmed up. He was hypothermic.
Wow.
But by morning, he was telling jokes, eating pudding, and it's an amazing story. And every time I'd see him after that, I'm like, you're my favorite story. Yeah. Because even the doctor said, I thought he was going to die.
Yeah.
And I said, well, he's eating pudding and telling us, jokes. So
yeah. In the end, I guess the Lord's the one that determines that.
Yes, yes, it is, definitely, yes. Yeah, and I don't want to get on him, but anyways, no matter how good or bad it is, God's still good. It doesn't change a bit.
Right.
That God's in control and God's good, and I see it that way. But yeah, you got to shine that light, and not, like I said, not jam it down their throat. But like I don't let my students, use foul language. Like we don't do that here. That's unprofessional. Yeah. And things like that. So I kind of, and I don't know, but yeah, it makes a huge difference that the Lord, and you're at peace and you're stable. Yeah. So you can be at peace and stable with them, for them. Before
I close, I have to ask, I'm sure you are being an inspiration to others through this book and through your work practice and teaching. Who was your inspiration in this field?
In teaching, Alexis Bullion, she taught me my first clinical, and she's still my go-to person. She was a clinical instructor for years. She always did it by the book, and I could always go to her and, And I also work with Camille Leadingham, who's over top of our BSN in class, and I'll be ready to and she'll be like, okay, let's try, a better approach. So she's great to work with. But yeah, Alexis, she's my my main thing there.
So just another example, everybody needs a mentor. Everybody needs somebody that can maybe inspire them to be the better version of you.
Yeah, you don't have to be alone. And you got to be teachable, or you need to get out of it, because if you know everything, you're dangerous.
Yeah.
So.
Her book is My Journey into Bedside Nursing. It's true stories from Cindy Fannin. Again, she's currently the assistant clinical nursing professor at Ohio University, Chillicothe. And again, people can get this, I guess, anywhere you can get books online and so forth.
Yep, you can get just about anywhere. It's everywhere.
Well, Cindy, thanks for being with us today.
I enjoyed this. This was fun.
Again, Cindy Fannin, our guest today. Our interview brought to you by Hometown-Motors Incorporated. I'm Mike Smith for Litter Media Special Edition.